All right, Mech Command, when we're evaluating a new mech, perhaps this is the first time you're facing it on the tabletop. Perhaps you've just painted it up and now it's in your lance and you're ready to play it. Or maybe you're looking to add some new machines and some new mechs to your collection. What's that criteria? What's that checklist that we can build on how to analyze a mech? And I wanted to share with you as I've been pushing up some mech reviews. We did some lights, we did some mediums. We're going to be jumping back into the clans. How do I approach this? What's that starting point? And I say this as a starting point because we can look at the general tactica of the machine, of the mech, but there's two other important factors that layer over that. The second factor is mechs don't exist on their own. How does this work with a lance? How does this work with combined arms? How does this work as part of a battle group? And then, of course, layered over that is your player personality, the type of tactics that you understand, the type of tactics that you like to employ. What's your spirit on the tabletop? Like what do you like to play in the game? All that is layered over this initial checklist. So I'm not saying this is the absolute definition of how I analyze a mech or how you should analyze a mech, but think of it as that jumping off point or that jumping in point on how to utilize it. So the first thing I look at, weapons. Like, yes, it's absolutely about the big guns. Big guns never tire, but Battletech is a combat-based game with some sophistication, hopefully. I start with the weapons. I look and ask myself, based on the weapons this mech has, what does it excel at? What does it want to do, right? A longbow wants to sit back and hit you real time with dozens and dozens of long-range missiles. Another type of mech might want to get up there. A grasshopper's got a slight long-range game with that laser and with the LRM-5, but primarily it wants to get up there fast utilizing that armor and blast you with a bunch of medium lasers. Firestarter is going to be vastly different than a Jenner. So what story, what tactics do the weapons tell if you're looking at those weapons? Forget about that they're mounted on a mech and speed and armor. Just imagine the weapons laid out. What do they want to do? Where do they want to operate? Now, that picture is what I want to do with the machine. What it's good at. What it's not good at, and there are some mechs that have a little bit of everything, but what it's not good at, I want to prevent that from happening. I want to keep that away from my opponent. So we get this weapons profile. Then I look and say, what's the delivery system of this machine? What's the speed of this machine? And speed is walking and running, but also maneuverability in terms of jump capability if it has it. If it's a light mech, one could argue it's got to have jump capability. If it's a medium, that's nice. If it's a heavy, it's a novelty. But the speed, the maneuverability, whatever label we want to give it, how is that going to work towards making that weapons profile work? Or if we're looking at a scenario where, like, again, pulling the longbow, I want to keep you at range. When someone tries to close, how am I going to prevent that from happening? Do I have speed? Do I have maneuverability? Where am I going to go? So the speed and the maneuverability, how is that going to deliver? And we see this where you have some mechs, for whatever reason, fantastic weapon ability, but the delivery system is nothing. They're too slow to really get up there. Or they're really, really fast, but the weapons are really light. So I've got a great weapons delivery, but I don't have many zappies to do anything with it. So this idea of exploring it from that perspective. The next piece is armor. Now, I say armor last. Armor is very important, right? We've got the two layers. We've got the external, the internal. Things go internal. We've got internal components. I say armor last because ideally, and I say ideally, right? Everyone's got a plan until you start rolling the dice on the table. I say ideally because I'm going to do my best, my absolute tactical best, not to get hit, right? Not to get attacked in range. I'll take a couple of hits, but I don't want to sit there eating 2 or 3 PPCs a turn unless I really, really have to. So I view armor as I kind of made a mistake with my movement or my tactics, or I kind of am hanging out way too long, and armor like keeps you going for a couple of turns. Because yes, you could always get critted. There could always be a special hit. Something crazy could happen. Headshot, fail consciousness check, take 40 points of damage, fall over, can't get up. Like that stuff can happen. The armor, I'm going to do my best not to get hit. Now, within the armor, of course, this is the sliding scale. The more weapons, generally the less armor. The faster the mech, the bigger the power plant, less armor. I can have, if we've got enough tonnage, raw tonnage, I can have a mech that's got amazing armor and amazing weapons, and it moves at urban mech speed. It's not going anywhere, right? We need to really look, what's the speed of the machine combined with the armor, combined with the weapons? The armor is that's kind of sliding scale, right? You can have more armor, but you give up this. You can have less armor, but you gain that. I try to look at it overall in terms of design. Every mech based on tonnage, light, medium, heavy, assault, is going to have this average spot of armor, kind of where the average clocks in for that class, for that tonnage. If it has more, then that's good, but I don't want so much it kills me on speed. If it's going to have less than for its tonnage, for its class, then there better be a reason. There better be a narrative there. You've got multiple PPCs, jump capability, and you're super, super fast. Okay, I could see that, and that's why you have less armor. So these three groups, I start with weapons. I look at maneuverability, again, walk, run, jump, power plant. I look at armor. That comes together to answer the question, this is what this mech wants to do on the table. This is what it wants to do and it can do. This is what it doesn't want to do and where it doesn't want to find itself. Now, to framework it, when we move into lance building, based on that profile, I look and say, this mech, what it does well, what it wants to do, when it joins this lance, does that get magnified by other supporting machines? And I look at the things that it does not do well or doesn't want to do. Longbow does not want to be a recon mech. But joining a lance, those deficiencies or there are things it's not good at, are they minimized? Will the other mechs or combined arms or battle group, will they pick up the slack on that machine? And then, of course, we layer over the player personality. What do you like to do with that mech? So turning it over to my fellow mech commanders here, my fellow mech warriors. You're thinking about acquiring that new mech. What does it look like? And what's that checklist? What's that build list that you use to qualify the machine to begin to ask the question, how are we going to utilize this in our lance?